Hi guys, and welcome to the Lowland League catch-up. It's myself, Rampant FM, and as always I'm joined with Mozza. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, mate. How's you?
Pretty good. Another weekend of Lowland League action, but we do have a midweek game to cover as well. We'll start with Dalbeattie Star versus Eddissport Academy. Eddissport got back to winning ways, winning 2-1. More new faces for Eddissport. Jack Breslin made his debut, and it was a pretty decent start from them. John Gay Lucas opened the scoring in the 23rd minute. It seemed to basically be a competitive fixture up until towards the end of the game, where Scott McLaughlin sealing the win for Eddissport on the 87th minute. But Dalbeattie did get a late consolation through Lee Wells, but yeah, Eddissport back to winning ways. They obviously did play on Saturday as well, mate, so we'll just go straight from that game to their game against Spartans, which they didn't they didn't continue their form, unfortunately. Spartans pretty much rolled them over, really. Let's put it that way. Early start from Spartans. We've seen them doing this when they get goals early. At 8 minutes, Blair Atkinson off to a flyer, beautiful finish to put Spartans ahead. 24 minutes, Mikey Hurd unleashes an unstoppable drive to make it 2. 10 minutes before half-time, Jack Smith defies the offside trap, runs into the box, and it's a stunning finish. And yeah, they were lethal after the second half as well. Blair Atkinson, the provider, after half-time, and it's a fine finish from Davy Greenhill, who scoops the ball high into the net. And right at the death, obviously, 90 minutes, a Davy Greenhill in-swinger is headed home by Stephen McDonald to make it 5. What a fantastic win for Spartans.
It's a cracking result, isn't it? Fantastic result for them, especially given that Eddissport are back to winning ways midweek, albeit kind of grinding it out against Dalbeattie. So they would have had their tails up a wee bit after that, and obviously conceding the early goals, 3-0 down at half time. It's not really where you want to be once you've got that monkey off your back.
No.
But Spartans are finishing the season pretty strongly, and we have kind of questioned them this season compared to last time round. If they were drawing a lot more games than last season when they would have won them.
Yep.
But no, fair play to them, because obviously they've got a squad that knows each other. They've not made too many changes to it, and when they're on form and they're on song, they're very, very hard to stop. And there you go. That's a really comfortable win against, let's be honest, Eddissport are a decent outfit.
Yep.
So it's quite an impressive scoreline. Certainly one that made me sit up and take notice of it.
Definitely. I think when I spoke to Cameron, who obviously knows Spartans quite inside out, basically, we mentioned obviously the fact that Jack Smith's in amongst the goals after his injury. But Spartans, I think when they go out, get a few goals early, that's when they can dominate games. When they sort of struggle for a goal or two or get behind, I think that's when they've basically struggled to get a result. But a comprehensive victory over at Eddissport. Eddissport, they've obviously made a changes for the rest of the season, and obviously I'm assuming next season as well. I think they've got a lot of finding each other out. I think with the new players brought in, we've seen it with other teams this season, Mozza. But yeah, I think it will take some time for these guys to get settled into how Eddissport play and whatnot. So, but you mentioned it last week as well, Mozza. We're going to have results come towards the end of the season. Spartans are still chasing top 4, obviously, and they've obviously just got back into top 4. But Eddissport, really nothing to play for as such apart from pride. So we're probably going to, as you mentioned last week, we're going to see more of these results towards the end of the season.
I'd imagine so. And you're quite right there that Eddissport are in transition. We also said that last week as well. They're reshaping their squad to get ready for next time. You mentioned Breslin's came in. It wouldn't surprise me if one or two other guys were getting an opportunity at this point as well, just to see what they're made of. Given the extensive youth system they've got operating there. So I don't think they'll be too concerned by it. It's just a case of figuring out exactly who's going to be around next season for the next push.
Yep, definitely. Not Jack the Brazilian, obviously, but so we'll stick with Dalbeattie as well. East Stirlingshire, Dalbeattie, Shire 1-2-0. 30 minutes played. Chris McKee long ball to Andy Rogers, who cuts inside the defensive line, shoots and scores an absolute screamer from what I've heard, possibly goal of the season. So they were 1-0 up at half time. Early into the second half, 54 minutes, Lewis Todd sent off for an abusive gesture to the crowd. Previous at Falkirk Stadium, as we know, but I'm sure we'll talk about it in a minute. 65 minutes played. It was a mix-up in the Dalbeattie Star defence after a header through by Connor Green. Ross Allam latched on to make it 2. And that was pretty much the game. Shire mentioned they're on a bit of a run at the moment. It looks like hopefully they'll take that form into the South Challenge Cup as well. And obviously a massive congratulations to Andy Rogers, who today scored his 109th competitive Shire goal and joins the legendary Ebenezer Docherty in second place in the all-time scoring charts for Shire. Massive congratulations, some achievement from Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's legendary just for the name Ebenezer as well, isn't he?
Yep.
Ebenezer Docherty. But Andy Rogers, as we've said previously, he's been a fantastic servant to Stirlingshire ever since they signed him up, and he's still get all the love of the game. I know, he's running to the final minutes every single week. He gives everything to the cause. He's getting rewarded now.
Yep.
It was tougher for them earlier in the campaign. But we've spoken about this recently, that they're on a form now. They were looking for it and just kind of trying to tweak things as soon as Dale and Andy came in to essentially take over. And it looks like they're now beginning to find a sweet spot with the guys have got in the way they're playing. They're continually adding guys now as well, I've noticed. Like guys that have got previous either youth experience with SPFL clubs or actual league experience. So it's quite interesting that they're in the midst of doing some transition like some other clubs, but the form keeps rolling on for them. The flip side though, when it comes to Dalbeattie, is they're keeping that door open for Whitehill welfare, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not losing by much, but a lot of the time it's kind of self-inflicted wins. Like they're making mistakes that lead to goals. You had, from what I've heard, when Lewis Todd gets sent off, it was just a stupid gesture he's made after a comment's been made by somebody in the crowd.
Yep.
And you can't do that. You can't hurt your team like that. I'm sure he'll say it himself, unless he feels it was unjust, right enough. But it's a wee bit different to the chat we had previously when you were talking about Sweden on the pitch. If you're making a gesture towards somebody in the crowd there, you're always going to get sent off.
Yep. And
that's the way it's always going to be. Andy Rogers could probably tell you a thing or two about responding to people in the crowd as well. But
that's why it was interesting, obviously, happening at Shire, almost, or against Shire rather. But yeah, it's
that Falkirk Stadium hoodoo, isn't it? Somebody always seems to lose it. But no, fair play to Shire, and it's actually getting to the point now. If you look at the league table, I know they've played a couple of teams more on the top 5. But they're beginning to close into like Civil Service, Strollers and Spartans.
Yep.
So they've jumped ahead of Cumbernauld Colts, albeit they've got a couple of games in hand. And from a pretty poor start, let's be honest, for what they were expecting to do this season, they might just be able to finish strongly and make it right up to the top of the kind of chasing pack, as it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, the good news, obviously, we already knew this, obviously, because I talked to Bill, start of the new year, if you will, but they've obviously released a statement saying that they are sticking with Dale and Andy, which is comforting for the Shire fans, because they are now doing a pretty decent job from a hard position previously. But congratulations to both the guys. They completely deserve it, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of Shire we have next season, if they're going to be challenging again. And it's always going to be tough, obviously, with the likes of BSC, Kelty. I'm not going to mention East Kilbride because they're looking likely that they might perhaps leave the league, so I'm not wanting to jinx them and say that they'll be in it.
Just to clarify that for anyone listening, it means winning it and going up in promotion.
Yep. Not the other way around. But yeah, it's going to be the league's just going to get more interesting from next season, obviously, with the likes of maybe Shire challenging again. BSC, Kelty already up there. Spartans probably challenging again, and depending on who else comes in the league, it's going to be I think more of a challenge next season, and it's probably going to get harder season on season than we've seen East Kilbride this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to get more and more competitive. It has done every single year that the league's been running, like ever since the formation of it. So can't wait.
Yeah,
but,
exciting times.
Without getting too ahead of ourselves, if we kind of focus on the here and now of it, firstly, fair play to Shire as well for showing the faith in the guys and saying, right, now that you've kind of found a sweet spot, absolutely you deserve a shot. Keep going with it, because it would have been very easy for them to say, well, thank you for your efforts, but we're going to get an established name in. And it's always good, and I think clubs deserve praise when they give people their first shot in management, and they've got the faith in them to carry it on. So again, shout out to the decision makers there at the Falkirk Stadium.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of East Kilbride, we'll get into East Kilbride versus Civil Service Strollers. Both, I think, we both put it down as our match of the week. It was very competitive fixture. It took till just before half time. Craig Malcolm penalty, steps up, slots at home. 25th goal of the season. Quite remarkable. He's obviously been on a bit of a run as of late. We did wonder if he was sort of going to step up. This is a few weeks ago now, Mozza, obviously, because he's been scoring almost every week. But he's definitely back into scoring form. It's always a difficult one, I think, for Civil Service or any team, basically, if they concede a goal just before half time. And things didn't really improve in the second half for them. 55 minutes gone, straight red for Civil's Sean Turnbull. The Civil player looked to strike a Kilby player in the groin region. I did actually see the highlights. Sean Turnbull, I mean, he's a unit of a guy. Let's put it that way. But for me, it was a soft red card. It was kind of like, I don't know if you saw Mozza, but it was kind of like just the antics you get during a corner or a free kick or whatever.
Yeah, put it this way, it's not exactly the famous old picture with Paul Gascoigne grabbing a hold, is it?
No.
It's a little bit of handbags, but at the same time, he's given the referee an opportunity to do it. So, as soft as it is, it's one of these that can happen. And the easiest way to avoid it is not to even give the ref a chance to see anything.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I think it was either a Kilby or a Civil fan was actually like shouting basically, don't touch him, or again, I didn't catch what Kilby player it was, but I think it was a lot to do with the player's reaction as well. To being obviously struck or whatever. But to me, I don't know if it was. It's not acceptable to obviously hit anyone or that, but to me it was more handbags than anything. But at the end of the day,
I'm inclined to agree with you, to be honest, mate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of these things that you can't afford to give the ref any chance at all.
Yep.
To make that decision on you.
Yep, and it's unfortunate for Civil, because obviously 10 minutes later, East Kilbride corner, clear to the edge of the box. Anton Brady curls a fantastic goal past the Civil keeper. Civil did give themselves a bit of a glimmer of hope. They got a penalty in the 87th minute with Jack Downey pulling one back, but it wasn't to be. I would have loved to have seen how that game would have went without if Civil never went down to 10 men and perhaps maybe never conceded before half time, because it did seem like a very tight affair. And from what I've seen, I think Civil it could easily have been a draw. But East Kilbride, if you ask Sean Winter, I'm sure he thinks it's all over in terms of the league title. I think what is it, the fat lady's singing or whatever.
I suspect if you ask pretty much anyone in the league just now, they think the league's over. But they'll never say so, obviously. Just Kilby have been absolutely relentless the whole time, and again they managed to pull out 3 points when they could have dropped a couple easily. And forgetting the fact that obviously Strollers had a man sent off and that's gone against them, and they've given them a heck of a game by the sounds of things. Given that they did beat them early in the season as well, that's exactly what we expected from it. But Kilby just keep doing the business.
Absolutely.
And that's why I've got such confidence in them, not just kind of seeing it through, but at the same time seeing it the whole way through, all the way up to the promotion playoffs. So you do feel bad for Strollers because, as you've said, they've clearly competed really well, and if not for the sending off, who knows what could have happened. But it's hard to argue with Kilby and that juggernaut they've got. And they've, again, another club that's came out and finally confirmed that Malcolm's staying in charge till at least the end of the season, because it was still up in the air. They hadn't actually officially confirmed anything until recently. So this week they've actually said, no, forget about it, we're not looking for anyone else, it's his job, and I suspect if he gets promotion it might be his job to keep.
I hope so. I think it's well deserved. He's done some really good stuff with Kilby as manager. He's brought in some really quality players that have really helped them sort of keep this run going. I think the only loss he's had was against Strollers, and that was his first game in charge. So a bit of revenge for him there as well. So I think the hardest challenge for him is maybe keeping the boys' feet on the ground now, making sure that they know that it's not over at the moment. It will be in a few games if they keep picking up the wins. And similar to Civil Service Strollers, Spartans are obviously coming back into it now, really decent form, so they have to see top four out as well. Two interesting teams to keep an eye out for the rest of the season.
But this is where Kilby have ideally built their squad, because not only have they got guys that have been there, done that, and seen it through to the playoff final previously and had the heartbreak, so they know exactly what it entails. They've also added guys with SPFL experience and the likes of Craig Malcolm and co. So obviously Anton Brady with Queen's Park as well. They've got chocksy experience through that squad, and not one of them will be counting their chickens. I can absolutely guarantee you that much. But they've built that squad very, very well for this particular season. And if they don't go up now, I don't know when they're going to go up, I'll be honest with you. It's I've never seen a team with a better chance than what they've got right now.
Absolutely.
And it's completely in their hands, and so far so good for them. We'll see if they can keep it going and see through to the very end.
Absolutely, mate. Getting into the next fixture, do you remember what I said last week?
I do have a slight inkling of what this was going to be when you brought this game up. For those of you that don't know, we're about to cover Edinburgh University against BSC Glasgow. And Rampant here is a little bit smug because he may have said that he can see Uni getting something out of this one, and so it proved. So I'll let you do the usual synopsis and we can get into it.
It was actually a bit, I only done it out the sheer hope because they had been on a bit of a run, a bit of a bad run, and it was just out of hope that they would get something. And fair play to them, they absolutely did. 29 minutes played, Jamie Mills dinks a lovely ball forward to Tamor, who squares for Carlo Pignatello, who strike low into the corner. 2 minutes later, Edinburgh Uni equalised. Finn Daniel Joman fires a daisy cutter from the edge of the box that beats Marshall. And 2 more minutes later, in the 34th minute, Hughes fires a free kick into the box and Ross McMillan rises above to head home. And 3 minutes to go for Edinburgh Uni. Max Condé heads home for the Uni to basically get the draw. Interesting result. From what I've heard, I think it was completely deserved. They seem to have a lot of chance. We've spoke about this before, Mozza, but Edinburgh Uni sometimes do this where they come more into a game into the second half, and that kind of sounds like what's happened. From what I've read, they had a lot of chances in the second half. I think you're on the right track there, saying that they absolutely deserve something out of this game. Bear in mind, this is a team that's been on a horrific run of form recently. Nothing's been going right for them, and to be fair, they've kept going till 3 minutes till the end of the game, and they've been given a reward for it. So absolutely fair play.
it'd be very, very easy for a club in that run of form to say, here goes another one, you know. But they're not that kind of team. They keep battling, and they absolutely deserve a point for that, because it's one of those that BSC did have chances to finish it off. But, you know, it's a fair result, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
And BSC, again, still the unbeaten run continues, but there's just been a couple too many draws in the last few weeks to keep tabs on Kilby, which is the other reason why pretty much everyone's certain of the destination of the league crown now. But I should really give a shout out to Declan Hughes at this point, ex-Kilby player with BSC this season, because he's been responsible for a lot of what's been good with Swifties guys this season. It's no coincidence that there's so many kind of free kicks and corners causing problems. And again, he's put it on a plate. Great ball into the box for Ross McMillan to head home the second goal there. But yeah, it's getting to the point now, I think, for both of these clubs where the season's all but finished. BSC I'd say they're assured a top 4 spot. I think that's fair enough to say.
Yep.
I've not actually worked out the points differential, whatever, but I think it's pretty safe now. So, whether clubs want to be in the Iron Brew Cup or not, the qualification's there.
Yep.
So they'll get in, and we'll see what actually happens with the tournament and the way it runs, right enough. So they've been rewarded for that. They'll finish second or third, I'd expect, and it'll be a case of looking to go one better next time round.
I noticed obviously on Valentine's Day a lot of the clubs had things to say. BSC said they weren't romantics, but there's certainly something going on between them and St Johnstone, isn't there?
The best of friends. Yeah, there was a little loan swap with Sean Strollers, who did really well, went back, and a replacement came back out as well. But it makes sense.
It's smart, yeah.
Because for St Johnstone, they've got guys who are really highly rated youths. They've got a cracking youth team at the minute, and they're coming out and getting really good experience on loan. For BSC, it obviously helps in terms of improving the competition and squad and getting guys who can compete and do something at this level. So it's something that I'd expect to see more of going into next season, with the success it's had with BSC and St Johnstone this time round. Don't be surprised to see more clubs, say Premier or Championship level, essentially putting 2 or 3 guys to the same club and keeping them together, because, well, there's a blueprint and it works.
Yep, absolutely. Getting into the game I was at, Gallagher Rovers versus Kelty Hearts. Wasn't a classic, to be honest. Obviously, I want to personally thank Gala for their hospitality and stuff. It was my first time at the Netherdale. I think the only disappointing thing was maybe the fact the stand wasn't open, but obviously that's no fault of their own. Absolutely great club. The social club's amazing. Just a genuine class outfit, very welcoming. Got to go into the boardroom obviously at half time and check that out, and I never actually knew they've got an amateur team down in Gala Shields called Gala Hotspur, so I'm a massive fan of that, obviously, because obviously that's my English team's Spurs, so I thought that was pretty cool. Fantastic day out. The game itself, I think Gala started off the stronger team to begin with. Ross Much of Kelty and Chris Dodd were getting a wee bit of success, as well as maybe Sandy Cunningham for Gala. Because of the bigger pitch, a lot wider obviously, so they were getting a lot of joy, a lot of space. But to be honest, it was the defence that were the stars for both teams, I would say. It took to the 35th minute when Ross Mitch was taken down in the box, and Stephen Husband converted the penalty for Kelty. Just a shout out to Pat Scullion, by the way. I don't know if you know this, Mozza, but he was playing for Edisport against Kelty. Had an absolute torrid time against Stuart Cargill, and obviously he was trialling for Gala today. And I think a lot of the Kelty boys were like, this could be another 5-0 and stuff. But I thought he was solid. I really did. I thought amongst the Gala defence, I think he looked a bit more more solid than he did for Edinsport anyway, and same with Kelty. I think their defence was brilliant. Gala did get a penalty in the 60th minute. It was saved by Scott Christie, who's saved 2 penalties in the last 2 weeks, and it's unfortunately 2 missed penalties for Darren Smith in the last 2 weeks. Bit of an interesting stat there. Debbie did mention to me that Smith doesn't miss penalties. He went 3 years without missing one.
And he's missed 2 and 2.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange stat that, two penalty misses and then 2. I don't know if we need to see if that's ever happened. The keeper saved 2 in 2 weeks and a player's missed 2 in 2 weeks. Bit of a strange one anyway. We do have a reaction from Gala manager Dean Shanks.
Well, Dean, that was really hard to take, wasn't it? We played really well, defensively particularly as well, and it just wasn't to be.
No, I mean, I did think I was watching the game, but again, I think, look, it's a penalty. It is a penalty. Kelty it's definitely a penalty. We got a penalty and we missed it. It's twice in 2 weeks. You can't keep missing penalties, we know that. But we're doing so many things right.
Yeah.
That's right. We've got to look at the bigger picture here. It's easy to go away and feel sorry for ourselves today, but that's what I say to the boys now. We go in and we take the positives and long term we'll be fine.
And the lads that came in as well did really well, didn't they? The ones who stood in today.
Well, you look at that. We're having to put Patch came in and helped us as well as a trialist. We've had to put young Harry in as well. Another injury we've picked up with Scotty Main, but I can't ask him much more for that change room. Yeah, they're doing it now, but they also realise that it's part of the bigger picture here. Everybody knows now that when they come into Gallifreyan Rovers, they're in a game. And that was. Of course, we want to win games, but we're fighting with Kelty in that this year.
No.
But we know what we're doing here, and over the next couple of years, you'll definitely continue to see improvements. So, disappointed, but sometimes you've got to look at the bigger picture.
As I say, Mozza, there wasn't really much to talk about. I didn't even really get reaction from any of the Kelty players due to it, because it was fairly a scrappy game. I just think it was a mix of the defence being really good, as well as both teams perhaps not being the best in the final third, and obviously the midfield battle overall.
A bit eye in the season fair.
Yep.
Really. That's kind of the reaction I've seen from people that were at the game, and it's to be expected that you're going to get games like that come the end of the season. But Kelty, they've bounced back for that little kind of dip in form they've had at the turn of the year into January, and it's not an easy place to go, let's remember. Down to Gallifreyan, because they they welcome teams in with open arms and give them a right good game. But it could have been 1-1 if that penalty had gone in. Ultimately, Kelty have got the better of it in a game that I suppose it could have ended up any score.
I think it would have been a fair result if it had been 1-1, either way. But
But it basically sets up for Kelty to go and grab second place in the league now, because the game in hand they've got in BSC, they would jump above them. And while Kilby are a bit of a mile ahead just now, an 11-point gap it is, with both teams having 7 games to play and BSC having played a game more. For Kelty's first season, and given that we've spoken to Ian in the past, he would have been delighted at the start of this season if you said, by the way, you're going to come runners up and you're going to have a great campaign, you're going to be set up for next year to have a right assault on the league title and go for promotion. So all things considered, I think they'll be happy. And if you look at the Rovers side of things, they're sitting comfortably mid-table, no worries below them. They've got a squad that they've put together, and a really decent squad. So they're, as things stand, they're the best team in the border region. That's got bragging rights attached to it itself. And it took them a bit of time to get going and get gelling. Now that they've got there, and they're clearly finding a way to play together, they've got a chance to add to their squad and slightly tweak it, but ideally keep the same core together this time and have a better campaign next time round. But this campaign for them initially looked a little bit worrying, but it might have just been because I gave them a kiss of death in pre-season. And they've came right through. They've got no worries in terms of the league itself, and I'm pretty sure they'll be happy with their work up to this point.
Yep, agreed. University of Stirling versus Cumbernauld Colts, it ended 1-1. Early own goal at the start of the second half by Scott Davidson gave Stirling Uni the lead. 66 minutes played, Fraser team latches onto a Stephen O'Neill through ball and slots home. It was another case, I think, of University of Stirling drawing a game that they possibly could have won. From what I've heard.
Absolutely.
A lot of chances. Obviously, as I mentioned last week, I think the top four is maybe sliding away from the Colts now. We've kind of been used to this. With when I spoke to David Chandler about University of Stirling a few weeks ago, for whatever reason, the University of Stirling, well, both teams, in fairness, are really good sides, but you would expect them to maybe pick up a bit more wins, but for whatever reason, sometimes they just can't do it.
I've seen the highlights of both goals in this game. Yeah, firstly, the Uni goal itself came from decent football, decent goal. However, like you've said, when they have been conceding goals recently, when you watch the way the Colts equalised, it was just a bit of a defensive palaver. I'm not really sure who was responsible for it because I didn't go back that far, but you can't give Fraser team a clear run through on goal.
No.
You just can't, because we've said this already about the Colts who get two strikers there who, when they get a chance, they will put it away. And if they don't do it the first time, the second time, you better believe it's going to be a goal.
Yeah.
So you give him a chance like that, and he's very rarely going to miss. So it proved, and potentially 3 points again has turned into a draw for Uni. So from what I understand, we're going to hear a wee bit from Chris Geddes.
Chris, the points are shared with Cumbernauld, but there were chances to win that game, weren't there?
Definitely. We've had some really good efforts at the end, the last 20 minutes there, and one's cleared off the line. Really smart play from the defender to get back on the line. It's always try and be fair. I think it's 2 points dropped. I think considering the chances we had, I think it's 2 points dropped.
It took a little while to get going, but once you got into the game, you dominated.
Yeah, I think first 10 minutes we were okay. Then Cumbernauld had a 15-20 minute spell where they really put us under pressure. Their two strikers are really good. The movement's really good, and they stick to it. They keep two up and they back it. And but then we started to the gaps in midfield were massive, and obviously with the players we've got in the pace, we were starting to get chances going forward. But again, Cumbernaud's backline are really good as well, so it was tough to break the four of them down. Plus Arnie Bembo sits in front, so it was difficult, but I think we ended the half stronger. And then second half we got a flyer at the start, great work for Robbie McGill up the right, lays it back, Lewis, good delivery, and it's an own goal. And then I think we controlled it after that. They're always a threat because of the two strikers, and as it showed, we had a throw in up in the corner, we lost it. It was a long ball up the top, and we should deal with it better, but a bit of a bobble, but we should deal with it. In the striker, brilliant, great finish, he runs through and he slides it by Kev.
Dom Slattery picked up an injury which forced a change at half time. What's the news on Dom?
Oh, he just hurt his hand, so he should be hopefully okay. He's just he landed on it awkwardly in the first half, so just took him off because he couldn't. He was in a bit of pain. So
would have been good to have got the 3 points today, because it's so tight, isn't it, down the bottom of the table there. How do you feel about the run that you're on at the moment, and you have climbed up the table?
Yeah, definitely. The boys are obviously gutted in there because it's 2 points dropped from our side, but we're seven Lowland League games unbeaten, and as you all know, as everyone knows, it's a tough league. So to go 7 games against some really good opposition, to go unbeaten, yes, we're not winning, but we're not losing either. And a lot of those draws, the majority of the draws this season, we probably should have won. But again, we go back to it, we never lost. We go to Vale of Leithen next weekend. Obviously, we've got a game on Wednesday as well. So, it's disappointing not to win games, but we're not losing either. So you need to take pride in that. But obviously, we'd rather be winning because it is so tight.
Chris, thanks very much.
Not a problem, David.
So that's Chris Geddes speaking to David Chandler. We obviously want to thank David Chandler and Chris Geddes. Right, we'll move on. So we obviously mentioned our game of the week was East Kilbride versus Civil Service Strollers, but certainly second choice would have been Whitehill Welfare versus Vale of Leithen. We said Whitehill have to win, and they didn't. It was 3-2 to Vale of Leithen at Ferguson Park. Kevin Keane scores direct from a corner for Whitehill Welfare on 12 minutes. I don't know if you managed to see the highlights, but it was quite remarkable. Have you done it?
Yes, it always is when it's a direct from a corner goal right enough, but it's worth a watch if you're listening and you've not seen it. Go and search it out, because Yeah, I'll not spoil.
It's actually it was yeah. You don't see it often, but it was really nice. A really nice goal from Kev there. 3 minutes later, though, they lost their lead. Lyle Smith scored for Vale of Leithen, and it was another goal just before half time for Liam Ireland to put Vale of Leithen ahead. 10 minutes into the second half, Liam Ireland got a double and put Vale of Leithen 3-1 up. And on the 60th minute, Scott Wright pulled one back for Whitehill Welfare, but really Vale of Leithen sort of done the business. And a shout out to Liam Ireland, by the way, because just from the highlights and from what I've heard from people at the game, I heard he had a really decent game, obviously getting 2 goals for Vale, and it's just obviously good for Vale that they've sort of got back into almost winning ways. I mean, they lost against Kilbride last week, but it seems like they're really wanting to push on now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were mentioning Liam Ireland there. I don't think we've actually brought his name up since we've been doing this podcast.
Nope.
So it certainly caught my eye that he got the double there. And either side of half time's an absolute killer for Welfare. When you're drawing, you've started the game pretty well. You're looking forward to getting to half time, rejigging things, and going for the win the second half. It's just an absolute killer to lose a goal before and after. Which that probably had the biggest influence on the game itself. Even though Welfare got the goal back on the hour mark, they just couldn't do anything else after that to finally get the equaliser, basically. But Vale of Leithen, it wasn't an easy game for them going in there, and they've managed to pull out the win. So I think Chris Anderson does deserve a bit of praise. And talking of which, he had a word with Sean Spedding that we can hear.
I'm joined by Chris from Vale of Leithen. I've just got a couple of questions for you after today's 3-2 win away to Whitehill. So after going 1-0 down after 10 minutes, you must be delighted to have walked away with all 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, that was the plan, was to try and nullify them. You know, we knew that they would come out and it would be a big game for them in terms of their battle to stay in the league. So it was important that we remained calm, and I think we did that. We conceded early. It was a disappointing goal to concede, but I think we bounced back really well from that.
And how important was the second goal just before the break into the team's mentality going into the break?
Yeah, it gave us that cushion going into, you know, it's obviously changes their thoughts at half time as well, and I think it was a really good goal. Liam's been excellent for us in the last few months, and he shows his quality in front of goal there, and it makes us a wee bit more comfortable. But we knew that they would come out in the second half and give it everything, so we knew it was going to be a difficult game.
After playing East Kilbride, the league leaders, last week, and only losing by the 1 goal, do you think that carried some momentum into today's game?
Yeah, I think it's a confidence thing. With, you know, we've got some good players, but they just, you know, they need, like anything, you need to be confident. And we played really well against Edu, and we got a win there. And then we had a really good performance against East Kilbride. So the confidence is there. You can see at times, you know, we still make mistakes, but you know, we've got some good players there that are maybe a wee bit, you know, just need that helping hand.
Brilliant. And next week you are welcoming the University of Stirling to your home ground. What are you expecting to take away from that game?
I think, you know, we've played well, so we've got another win today, so it's 2 wins out of the last 3 games, so we're hoping that we can deliver another good performance. And I think when we play well, we tend to get a result from the game. So it's a team around us as well, so we're not playing one of the teams at the top end of the table, so we're expected to put in a good performance and the result will take care of itself.
So obviously thanks to Sean for getting a word with Chris Anderson there. I think that's also the first time Chris has featured on the show as well, so that's good to see that we're obviously getting more involvement with some other clubs. Mm-hmm. In terms of Whitehill, mate, it's not looking great. We've seen, obviously I had mentioned about Scott Lucas last week, and he obviously has since departed the club, and I think it's known obviously that he basically, you know, the manager didn't need him. It's disappointing for the player, but obviously I just don't understand that.
Yeah, it's hard to, without knowing the complete facts of the situation, it's hard to work out what's going on there. But he's clearly a player that could have been used, and from what Scott's been saying, he has been fit to play. So it's a strange one, but yeah, it's one of these things. He's obviously gone back to his boyhood team now, in Archie, where he basically gets started. Yeah, it's obviously the gaffer has made the decision that these are the guys that are going to see them through and hopefully make them get off the bottom of the table. It remains to be seen if they're going to do that or not. But we built this game up as essentially a cup final for welfare, and they've not been able to get anything out of it, sadly for them. Because now you look at the kind of fixture list ahead of them, they go on the road for the next 2 games, away to Kelty, which is just a really difficult journey, and also away to Gretna.
Who are unpredictable.
And from there, I mean, obviously they could get something out of those 2 games, but I think they've missed a golden opportunity there to get at least a point, if not 3, on their home patch against a team in Vale of Leithen that they're not too far ahead of them, and they've had a wee bit of up and down form. But so you look at the games after that, and they've got Gallifrey, Rovers, East Stirlingshire and Edgy Sport all visiting Roseville before finishing up away to Edinburgh Uni. There's still points that could be had there, but the problem they've got is there's only 6 games left to save their season, and they need a very, very minimum of 2 wins.
Yep.
Dalbeatty's still giving them hope to cling on to, just because they're not picking up anything and have had chances to and they've thrown it away, like be it solitary points or even a kind of win here or there. And don't get me wrong, Stars running is a bit of a nightmare when you look at it as well, and they've got BSC twice, Spartans, Kelty, they've got to go to visit Netherdale for Gala, and they've got Vale of Leithen at home as well, so it's not the easiest run. Strollers thrown into the mix, but you'd expect Dalbeatty to get something out of those 8 games.
Yeah.
Surely. So you might be in a position for welfare where these last 6 games they need at least 3 wins.
Absolutely. So that's like half their fixtures, and the fact that they've only won 1 all season, it's just not looking likely. Back to the point about obviously the manager and the decision with, we don't know that, as we mentioned, Scott's been asked, saying that he's not needed and stuff, and that's fair enough in terms of a manager.
Yes, yeah.
We can't second guess a manager. He knows better than us about the club and how he wants the squad to run and everything. But they've improved under Ian Little, but I think the only way, if that's going to turn out to be a hindrance or if it's going to work out, is if they actually avoid relegation. I think if people would be questioning why they're letting the club captain go and stuff like that, and now I think it's getting to the point where if they avoid relegation or somehow manage to get above Dalbeatty, then we could probably look back at this and say, well, maybe he was right, but
yeah, that's the nature of football. Managers are going to live and die by their big decisions, aren't they? And as much as Ian has came in and improved things, they've still not been getting the 3 points from any games. So when we do review things at the very last match day of the season, and I'm sure we'll do a proper review podcast at that point, that'll be one of the talking points for whoever does come bottom. What could they have done differently? What points in the season did basically they seal their fate? And this might well be a pivotal stage, one way or the other.
Definitely, agreed. Just before we get into next week's fixtures, mate, there was a friendly result. Obviously, Gretna had their week off in terms of Lowland League action, but they did win 3-0 over Dumfries YMCA. Stuart Gray scoring 1 and Dean Watson getting 2 there. So we'll move on to next week. There is a Friday fixture, the Spartans versus Gala Ferradine Rovers. An interesting one, considering that Spartans are banging form. Gala, having seen them against Kelty, I think they've possibly got a chance to maybe withhold. I don't think it'll be another 5-0 or another Spartans thrashing or whatever, but certainly I always tend to go with Spartans at Ainsley Park. I think everyone knows that. So Spartans.
Well, it's a pretty easy pick, isn't it? It's very few teams go to Ainsley Park and take away anything in terms of a win. Maybe the occasional draw here or there, but you never really see teams going there and attacking Spartans. They tend to try and sit and hit in the break and so on. But if there's a team that can do it, Fairydean are that team. They've done it to the big teams this season at this level, and they defend really well generally. Other than the odd aberration earlier in the year, they don't tend to concede too many in these sorts of fixtures. So we'll keep an eye on it and see how that plays out.
And obviously they're looking to do the double over Spartans, having got the win at Netherdale earlier in the season also. BSC Glasgow versus Gretna. BSC hoping to get back to winning ways and keep the run of form going. Gretna are one of the more unpredictable teams in the Lowland League, but I would probably fancy BSC to get back to winning ways.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game because, as you say, you do not know what kind of Gretna you're going to get. So I'm going along expecting BSC to get 3 points in the bag, but at the same time, it'll be interesting to see the way that the Borders team are shaping up.
One of the more unpredictable fixtures this weekend, Cumbernauld Colts versus Edinsport Academy. Cumbernauld Colts kind of sort of losing track of top four now, and Edinsport Academy, they got their win against Dalbeattie, but obviously defeated heavily against Spartans. I'll go with Cumbernauld Colts, I think, to hopefully to get back. I'm going to do an Edinburgh Uni on them and basically.
Do you know what? That fence at Sayers looking quite attractive to sit on for this game. I have no idea how this one's going to go, so I'm not even going to bother making a prediction because it will ultimately be wrong.
Dalbeattie Star versus Civil Service Strollers. I want to say Dalbeattie will get out this run, but I don't think they will. I think Civil Service Strollers, they're going to get back to winning ways and hopefully back in the top four for the guys at Civil there, but it's not going to be easy.
No, the one thing that Dalbeattie's got in their favour there is that they're welcoming down to Islecroft.
Yep.
So it's a bit of a journey for the Strollers to make to a ground that Star have managed to pull out results here and there at. So they'll maybe be looking to nick something, but I'm with you. I think Strollers will get the 3 points.
East Kilbride versus Edinburgh Uni. I'm not gonna test my luck with Edinburgh Uni this week as much as they probably want me to, but no, I think Kilby, they're on the march to the title now. I think it's obvious to see. K Park, they look unstoppable at K Park, and I think East Kilbride another win and another few fingers on the title. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kelty Hearts versus Whitehill Welfare. I just think Kelty, they've got, in all honesty, they've got a better team than Whitehill, and they're on a bit of form themselves. It should be a Kelty Hearts win, I think. Yeah,
agreed. And they'll be looking to keep the league alive technically in terms of point style for as long as possible. So another win there, and it keeps things ticking over for another couple of weeks.
Vale of Leithen versus University of Stirling. To be honest, there's not a lot of fixtures in the grand scheme of things that I would pick out for match of the week, but I think this is my match of the week because Vale are just sort of coming into this bit of form now. Obviously they lost against East Kilbride, but it was a good performance. They could easily got a draw against the league leaders. They beat Whitehill. This will be interesting for me because University of Stirling, we know that they sometimes don't pick up wins in terms of when they're more likely to draw than win in some instances. So I'm going to pick that for my match of the week. Have you got any fixtures?
I think the one that jumps out to me is the Colts at home to Edgesport, just because anything could happen.
Yep.
So that's the one I'll be keeping an eye on, as well as obviously being at the BSE game. Yeah, well, just before we finish off, just to touch on the statement that came out from the league before the weekend's games as well. As all of you listening will no doubt know, the Lowland League has been running this season with 15 teams after the withdrawal of Selkirk early doors. and it was announced by the board this particular week that not only will the Lowland League return to a 16 club division for next season, which was already expected, but they've opened an application process for this spot. So by the rules, we've discussed it in depth already, the bottom team will be relegated. There is a potential for Team 14 to be relegated as well, depending on how the playoffs go. If the Highland League team get through and they defeat a Lowland team from League 2 ultimately. But so this application process has now been opened for other teams to apply, which technically means the welfare could reapply for their spot. Yep. But also all these teams below that have been ambitious and are in the progress of getting a club licence, and there's several of them in the east of Scotland and also one or two in the south of Scotland, they can all now apply to be part of the Lowland as well, even if they don't ultimately win out and get there on merit. So that's a really interesting thing to bear in mind for the summer that's coming. It gives several clubs an opportunity to get up a level and really compete with all these teams in the league that's ever growing, and it's getting ever more competitive. So it's good to finally have a wee bit of a clarity, I think, on exactly what's going to happen, despite the fact that this is what we expected ultimately. So we'll keep an eye on it for you, and if we hear more, we'll obviously let you know in the pods to come.
Absolutely, mate. Agreed. And also, Banks OD, if you want to ground share from anyone below sort of the Tay side, I was speaking to, I made the joke, obviously, I thought Banks OD had a chance, because if they ground shared below sort of the Tay border, they've got a licence, it's every opportunity.
Why not?
So, plugs, mate, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, at Mozza Plays on Twitter, and pretty much anywhere else you'll find me. Keep it nice and simple. How about yourself?
At Rampant FM, and obviously you can get us on Official Catch Up on Twitter as well. We do have a new Facebook page. We've often talked about the last few weeks that we don't use Facebook too much, but Sean Speddens obviously went out his way to create a page for us, and he's going to take charge. We obviously trust him, obviously, so the pattern might be a bit different, or lack of, depending on who you speak to, but I'm sure he'll do a brilliant job with it. He's obviously keen like us on the Lowland League, so yeah, make sure that you're liking us on Facebook as well.
I mean, that's a wee bit harsh saying that Sean's part's going to be better than yours. I didn't think it was that bad, but
try and keep it in good positive spirits. I know you mentioned Iron Brew Cup earlier. I'll keep silent on that though. At this stage, I'll
let the various people around the league and anyone else speak on Iron Brew Cup, and we will remain impartial for now.
Yeah, it's the best thing to do. So that's the end of the episode, guys. As ever, we'll be back next week, and we obviously want to thank everyone that listens, the players, the clubs, the managers that get involved, and Michael Park, George Fraser, and basically everyone that supports us. As always, you can listen to us on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and we'll see you next week.
Catch you later.